If you can't tell, my throat's still a little froggy right now, because let's just say I had the flu for like the last week now, so I'm still in recovery mode, so I apologize if my throat sounds very inconsistent at times throughout the video. Today though, we're going to be talking about the video game, or as I just call it, interactive movie, called Immortality. Brought to us by the man who developed Her Story, Telling Lies. Immortality is an interactive movie in which you're supposed to figure out the disappearance of an actress known as Marissa Marcel. She was known for being in 3 different movies, Ambrosia, Minsky, and Two of Everything, but the catch is all 3 films never got released. And on top of that, she's missing, and it's up to you to go through a bunch of hidden footage, whether it's behind the scenes footage of the films, B-roll footage of all those movies, and interviews and audition tapes in order to piece together what happened to the actress, as well as what might have happened behind the scenes of all these movies as to why they never got released. I haven't played Her Story, so I can't speak for that one, but I did try Telling Lies, and I really do dig these kind of interactive movies where you're watching different different videos and clips of people talking and whatnot. You're trying to piece together the narrative. Though, to be honest, Telling Lies really wasn't my cup of tea. Not that I didn't like the gameplay itself. I actually like these kind of games. They're an acquired taste. But I personally do like them. My problem with Telling Lies was it's just the story was just not that interesting. So when you add on top of that the whole gimmick of trying to search up words and whatnot in videos to find 10 hours worth of footage to link the story together for a story that you don't really find that interesting, doesn't really make do for an engaging game. Immortality is basically just more of that, except the way you find more footage is different this time. Here, while a clip is played, you pause it, go into image mode, and you scope around the photo, and you find objects that you can click on, and it will teleport you, or transport you, say, to another clip of a similar object. Whether it's an actor's face, an object in the scenery, a prop, a chair, a doorway, a picture, regardless of what it is, it will move you around from the different types of footage, harking from the late 60s all the way to the late 90s. It's a more simplified version of trying to find footage, and I think it works and it makes it easy and accessible for pretty much everyone. It's basically the kind of game, kind of like, say, As Dusk Falls, or even The Quarry, where it's very simplified to where even non-gamers can basically play it. But the thing is, this is the kind of game, though, that's really gonna have to click for you. Because you're going through so much footage. I don't know how many hours worth of footage there is in this game, but there's a lot. And you have to go through a lot of it. It's like constantly rewinding, fast forwarding around, paying attention to what they're talking about. Because sometimes you might find pointless footage at times of just random auditions and whatnot, and that's it. But then you'll find footage that will have hidden footage within the footage almost, that is relevant and actually kind of important to the narrative, at least when it comes to Marissa Marcel herself. So you have to really pay attention to audio clues, and if you're playing with a controller, the vibrations in the controller itself. Some people might really dig this, and I actually was into it for the majority of the time, but this is the kind of game I can see a lot of people not being into at all, so it's definitely an acquired taste. So if someone told you not to play, they thought it sucked, they weren't into it, it's understandable because this is not for everyone. I was into it at first because as a film buff, I was really into watching all this behind the scenes of all these different films and just seeing them actually, make the movies and whatnot and the process behind it. And there's also very dark themes that are going on in this narrative as well, with basically showing the showcase of sex and drugs in the Hollywood industry, which is nothing new. We all know about that. I think even kids, children today, know about this, so it's nothing new. But the way that they show in very raw footage material, it comes off as very uncomfortable at how it's portrayed. And it is effective. It's shocking at times, and it's pretty effective. It can get a bit gratuitous at times to where it's okay, I get what you're saying, but can we please just tone it down a little at times. So it's definitely not a game that's for everyone, even in that regard. The game does give a content warning at the menu start, so if that's the kind of stuff that makes you uncomfortable, you may want to look into that first before you start playing the game. But like I said, I was into the narrative at first, but it did start to lose me once you find the hidden footage within the footage. I'll just say without spoiling, there's hidden characters basically that appear in this hidden footage, and there's a point to them, and I understood what they were. I get it. Like, it's not like I didn't get what their point was. I get the point of them, but the problem is the game started to get really full of itself at a certain point. The way these characters talk to each other or talk to you, the gamer, at times gets really pretentious and it gets full of itself at times. To the point where I felt like I was getting talked down to by the game. There were times I really was rolling my eyes and it felt like I was watching something from a liberal art college student's project. And no, I'm not dissing on liberal art college students. I'm just saying there's sometimes people think they know, they're so smart, they think they know how to be poetic in movie form and whatnot, but it just comes out as really cringy. That happens a few times here. But I'll give this though. There are some parts during the hidden footage that can be very horrific at times. And it's very well executed. Because there is horror aspects to the story, and within the hidden footage, sometimes the horror actually is very effective. Whether it involves a character walking on air towards the camera at one point. And the one that really was disturbing was actually the final clip that you find that does explain what happens to Marissa Marcel. It was pretty disturbing. So, good job on that one. It took me about 4 hours to basically find the majority of the necessary key footage before the credits rolled. But there's still plenty of footage you can find after you're done with that to find more context for certain things you might have missed. And I did do that, and I did find some things that did explained a bit more, even if some of the answers weren't exactly that satisfying, you still get more of an explanation for some things. Though I wasn't able to figure out why the hell the first movie that the actress did, Ambrosia, never got released. There's a clip I found that might have given a suggestion why it might have not released, but I don't know if there is actually a clip that explains why it never got released or not. Though I do want to point out though, Amanda Gage, who plays the actress in the game, is fantastic. She's great. I hope to see her in actual movies in the future, because I think she could have a career, honestly. But that's really all I have to say about Immortality. It's a perfectly fine game that will make it or break it for people. Like, people are praising the crap out of it online, and I can see why. And then I see people who try it, they just say they just can't get into it. And I see both sides. I don't think it's as great as people are saying that it is. Like I said, I do think it's an interesting game to play. And I was into the narrative for the most part at first, but it did start to lose me after a while when I was getting basically talked down to about the freaking hidden film footage at times. And again, the answers you get aren't really that satisfying in my opinion. And there is a point where you do start to find the hidden footage get repeated over and over again inside other clips you find. Like, you'll find a new clip and you might find the hidden footage just for it to be repeated from another film reel you found. So that does get a little repetitive after a while. But for what it is, I thought Immortality was a perfectly okay game. It's not for everyone, but for what it is, it's a decent game to try out. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's on Game Pass right now for both Xbox Series X and S and on PCs, so I do recommend giving it a shot if you have Game Pass. But if you don't have Game Pass, it's available for $20, and I don't know if it's worth the $20. That's a very big maybe. I would say at least just get Game Pass, because to me, it's cheaper just to try out Game Pass for a month instead of just paying the game at full price. So I'll leave that up to you, but for what it is, Immortality, it's okay.